Well, it's January again. And what a year. Other than 2022 being the year that a whole bunch of bad stuff happened, on top of a whole bunch of other bad stuff that's now been around for so long that it's normalized to the point where we can stop thinking about it because more bad stuff is happening. And I don't want to go over all of that here, because that seems to be all that we do. We've done it so many times and in so many different ways, it seems. And so 2022 was the year that I do what I do every year. Do my best to have a good time. And I would say I did a pretty okay job this time around. I watched and played a lot of great stuff. I released 4 videos that I'm really proud of, 6 if you include the Secret Inscription ones. It was the year I inexplicably stumbled into a love of pro wrestling. I finally made it out to a concert for the first time since the pandemic started, and I discovered coordinate sweaters and cardigans. I also tried growing a beard again, and I don't know how long it'll stick around. 2022 is also the year I started working more seriously on my Patreon. Shout out to my top patrons. I would argue that it's the most productive part of the year for me, because this was the year that I started making these bonus vlog style videos, where I take a moment to talk about all of the enjoyable stuff that I experienced at that time in the year. Stuff that wouldn't normally make it onto the main channel. Games, movies, albums, cool YouTube videos, podcasts, basically anything cool that crosses my path. This may sound like a plug, and I suppose it is, but more than anything, these bonus Patreon videos have helped me to better solidify the things that I'm enjoying throughout the year, rather than just letting them pass me by. They afford me a chance to better reflect on what it is that I'm taking in. So for this year-end video, I wanted to let it be an extension of those bonus videos, looking at more than just the games that were going to come in second or lower to Elden Ring. So this time, for 2022, I wanted to talk about my 10 favorite, not just games, but media experiences, if you will. There will be a bunch of games, some music, a movie, some TV, nothing's off the table. And if you are interested in seeing more of my favorite stuff from 2022, then head on over to the Patreon, because alongside this video, hosted exclusively on my Patreon, is a free companion video of sorts, going over even more of my favorite stuff from 2022. But for now, here in the video you're watching right now are my top favorites, the 10 best things that I got to experience in 2022. AEW All Out, AEW Full Gear, and Ring of Honor Final Battle, and really just pro wrestling in general, are maybe the breakout stars of the year for me. I know this is a total cheat, I'm effectively putting 3 things into one spot right off the bat, but like I said in the intro, 2022 was the year I, kind of out of nowhere, got really into pro wrestling. If you follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my Patreon, or even just watched my most recent video, you are probably already aware of this revelation to some degree, but I personally am still a little baffled by it. I have fallen hard for this new interest, and these were my first 3 pay-per-view events, so despite the differences between them, I can't help but put them onto the same level in my mind. I'm still figuring out how to properly parse the wrestling that I take in on a regular basis, and I'm slowly learning how to identify and understand the rhythms, intricacies, and significance of what I'm watching, so it just kind of made sense to consider all 3 of these events that have essentially ushered me into this new hobby together. Even with the drama that followed All Out and resulting suspensions, the sort of low-key efficiency of Full Gear, and the comparatively narrow scope of Final Battle, they each have their high points for me, and the wide-eyed curiosity I still have for this new interest has galvanized them in my mind. I had a lot of fun building up to watching all 3 of these, and I won't soon forget them. A fascinating new experience for me that I can't wait to build on in the coming year. Signalis is a game that reminded me, in no uncertain terms, that there is a part of me that desperately misses the play and feel of classic Resident Evil games. When I started the abstract science fiction survival horror game, it didn't take long for me to really take to water. I am one of those weirdos who prefers the original Resident Evil games to their remakes, and so the distant and disconnected field of play, the strange yet intuitive puzzles, and most of all the clunky and hampered combat felt like old times in the best, or at least some comforting ways. And of course, when I saw that there was an option to play with the much maligned, widely considered to be obsolete tank-style control scheme, I got so excited that I was actually kinda disappointed in myself. Proper thoughts on this game have not fully materialized for me yet, and I expect that even if I sat down to try and fully put into words what this game is doing, I would find it difficult. This is a game that obscures so much of its meaning into the tiny corners you are all too likely to pass by on without realizing their significance, at least the first time around. Signalis is thick with symbolism and rife with abstraction, the exact kind of thing that makes a game hard to understand. Thankfully, it gets by entirely on vibes and atmosphere precisely when necessary. I walked into Signalis thinking that it was going to crush the competition and top out the list this year based on my preferences and history as a lover of games, but even if this isn't the case, Signalis is a game I find myself thinking about in downtime throughout the day, ruminating on what it all means and what I might be able to pull from it if I ever go back and fire it up again. I really like this game, and so if you, like me, get a kick out of classic horror gameplay and are into the idea of some absolutely pinpoint shoegazy gothic cyberpunk aesthetic, then I highly suggest you check out Signalis. As of this writing, I'm still putting together my list of favorite video essays from the year, but it's an easy call to say that Cullen's coming to terms with Chrono Cross videos are pretty near the top of the list. I have to put some special attention, though, on the second part of the series, which focuses on the story of the game. A little bit of background, Chrono Cross is pretty much my favorite game of all time. I have played it many times and examined it at multiple points in my life, allowing it to take on new meaning for me time and time again, and will probably never leave me in any real way. To put it weirdly, I am stuck with this game in my brain. And so when I say that Cullen opened whole new ways of thinking about this game for me, that is saying something. Off the hop, I just appreciate this video. It puts the game into exactly the kind of context it not only needs, but the kind it deserves. Cullen does such a great job of explaining the game in the plainest terms possible, which is not easy for a game that is anything but plain. It makes for a video that understands Chrono Cross for the ridiculous, gorgeous, overwrought work of absolute and undeniable art that it is. The video is hilarious, informative, and analytical in ways I can only hope to approach when I finally get around to making my own Chrono Cross videos, something that I'm much more intimidated by the prospect of, by the way. Cullen managed to open my eyes to angles on this game's world and story that hadn't occurred to me in all of my years playing and replaying this game. Not just what is here after it has been deciphered, but what it all means and why it's important. My only regret in putting this on the list is that you really do need to have played Chrono Cross before watching it, something that is kind of a big ask. So please understand, this video is very good. It provides an understanding of this beautiful, messy game beyond the convolution and confusion that it so often leaves its players with. I am looking forward to playing this game again, with new vigor and refreshed eyes. This video, which I also have to say is just a really fun time, has done so much for my appreciation of something special to me. Wilderun is a band that I have been listening to and loving for a little over a year now, and they remain something of a singular experience for me. It's not very often you will hear this kind of genre variance in one place. Wilderun is a band that will begin a song with a guy singing a nice folky tune with an acoustic guitar that will, over the course of the next 6 minutes or so, slowly transform into some of the craziest head-crushing death metal on the market today. Triumphant anthems, bizarre, broken compositions, and at times impressionistic, almost meditative ambience make up just some of the things you can expect on any one of their albums. There is such a powerful range of sounds and feelings on all of them, and this is made more than clear by their 2022 release, Epigon. From easy, light folk rock to terrifying death metal in a matter of moments, with all of that dissolving into somber and strange soundscapes, you won't be starved for things to hear on this disc. I don't think this is my new favorite album from Wilderun, but it fits into a larger picture so perfectly. They never seem like they're outdoing their last one, but it feels like they're not trying for that. It's all connected as one big musical tapestry, and I love that. Epigon is an addition to a burgeoning legacy that I can't wait to see continue and grow, and it further solidifies Wilderun into my personal pantheon of bands. But more than anything, it creates the kind of sonic headspace that makes me want to pick up my guitars and go running back to music again so that I can start exploring and seeing what kind of spaces I stumble into for myself. This album stands on its own well enough, but to me it's like a gateway into another world, and there is so much to see and do there. It may be a long time before I find the bottom of this album, and I'm excited to be able to keep re-experiencing it from now on. I can't recommend this album highly enough, and even if it ends up not being your thing, I think the experience will be worth it. Suddenly, at the 11th hour of 2022, Chained Echoes came screaming into my life, and just like that, the sun is a little brighter, food tastes a little better, and I'm sleeping a little more soundly. That's a lie, I haven't slept well since grade school, but at any rate, I've been waiting for someone to come along and give me the modernized take on classic Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger type game that I was starting to worry I was never going to get. Just when I was formulating my resolution to make 2023 the year that I reconnect with JRPGs, Chained Echoes presented itself as the perfect place to start. I'm sure I'm not even close to finishing the game yet, and even in these early hours, just the experience of playing it is such a joy. The frantic yet calculated opening beats of the story, the aesthetic and the feel of the game sending me right back in time, and then to see how effectively and creatively the problems that classic JRPGs seem to age into just as a matter of course are dealt with in this game is maybe the most inspiring and encouraging piece of the whole thing. I don't really have deeper words for this game yet because it's still early days, but with such an astounding entry, this game has strong-armed its way onto my list. And if the sheer scope of just these first hours are any indication, this thing is going to be quite the ride, and I'm so glad to be on it. 2023, my year of the JRPG, is off to a great start. The next entry on the list is, by all accounts, my favorite movie of the year. I didn't see this one coming, I didn't even really think it would be a contender, but turns out Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness kind of rules. This was unexpected, as I'm not really a Marvel fan anymore. I acknowledge them as enjoyable things, and when I get around to seeing them, they're fine? But somehow, Multiverse of Madness turned out to be kind of exactly what I've been wanting from superhero movies for a good while now. But I am also a huge Aquaman fan, so maybe I'm the weird one here. There were all kinds of movies that I enjoyed this year, and I promise RRR and the Banshees of Inisherin were not far behind, but Multiverse of Madness had me just punching the air and going, hell yeah, it's so many different turns in a movie that I really wasn't expecting to be punching the air and going, hell yeah, it's so many turns to. Does that make sense? It was a pleasant, unexpected surprise. Let's go with that. So maybe I'm just smitten with such a fun thrill ride, but the imagery and conceptual design of the thing connected me with it so much more than a lot of blockbusters tend to in this day and age. What I think I like most about this movie is how bonkers it's willing to go and how unconcerned it seems with being a superhero movie fitting into a canon and a bunch of established characters. And that's all there, but the swiftness with which it just blows right past all of the checklists and studio notes that probably came down from on high, just how twisted it's willing to get, it just speaks to me. Again, really did not see this coming in this particular movie. This is a movie that is about messing with the reality of a world that is already full of magic, superheroes, aliens, huge secretive government agencies, and it frustrates me that it took this long for it to get this unhinged. I love this movie. I love the spirit of it. I love that Sam Raimi gave us this utterly twisted look at what a world of superheroes can be. Maybe I was just waiting for a comic book movie to feel like a comic book again. Maybe I'm just that much of a Sam Raimi fan, or maybe Sam knows how to make a movie that will appeal to me. I kind of wish I had a more interesting answer for my favorite movie of the year, but this is how the math worked out. I ran it a couple of times. I know this wasn't a super well-received movie, but it's exactly what I'm looking for. And just like that, 2022 was the year I fell in love with a Marvel movie. Nothing's off the table. I'm a big fan of mystery games. I think that's pretty evident by my larger body of work, whether it's a mystery in the moment, a mystery over the entire game, or a mystery story being told on a set path. I love the feeling of being able to put it all together as it unfolds, however it unfolds. Case of the Golden Idol is exactly my kind of thing. I was turned in its direction by everyone who I heard speaking about it, putting it alongside Return of the Obra Dinn, which is a game I very much enjoy and must have more of at any cost, and so when the opportunity to dive into this sprawling and winding story full of questions and intrigue presented itself, I dove right in and didn't look back until I had finished the game 8 hours later. And if there's one thing I like more than a good and cool story, it's an interesting way to tell a good and cool story. I guess you could call this game a series of neat little brain teasers that slowly build until you realize the whole thing is one awesome brain teaser that'll keep you guessing all the way through the credits, but the journey you take to get there is the highlight of the experience. The ways in which information comes to you in this game are so deeply satisfying to me. Even the very simple yet seemingly needlessly complicated set of instructions the game gives you to solve each mystery is always multifaceted in ways that only get more interesting as you go. I am an absolute mark for this game. It's invigorating in all of the ways that I hope a game will be, and it is now immortalized on my list of games I wish I could forget and play again for the first time. Yeah, that's kind of all it has now. Anyways, this game is really good. Devin Townsend is one of my favorite recording artists. I've been devouring his music for 13 years now, and he holds the honor of having written and recorded my all-time favorite album, his 1997 release, Ocean Machine Biomech. But all of this doesn't necessarily mean that I instantly love everything he releases. The guy is prolific on another level, and he is a true eclectic. His genre of choice is an offshoot of heavy metal more often than it isn't, but it's always based on kind of whatever he's feeling at the moment. It's a mileage will vary situation, but it wasn't long before Townsend's 2022 album Lightwork and its companion disc Nightwork solidified itself as my favorite album of the year. Its massive, soaring tones won me over almost instantly, and Devin's uniquely simple but heavily calculated way with words keeps me coming back to this disc over and over again. The feeling of this record is like floating on an endless sea that is calming and comforting you while stunning you with its scope and majesty at the same time. I was lucky enough to get a copy of the 2-disc edition, and when you make it to that second disc, all bets are off, and this album crystallizes as a continuation of the ways in which Townsend can use the power and aggression of heavy metal music to explore every corner of the emotional experience. There is so much more than a simple genre exercise going on here. As a longtime fan of its writer, I felt an instant attachment to this record. It may have a different structure and overall function than Ocean Machine, but so many of the same tones and feelings appear in this record when I listen to it, only now they are infused with what I guess you might call maturity, the benefit of years and a long career to inform where we came from. For the moment, Townsend's career feels like it's almost bookended by these two albums that I love, creating for me the same kind of gentle intensity that only Devin knows how to create on either side of such a thrilling adventure through what music can do. I realize that the significance I see on this disc is likely inherent to my specific experience, but I think everyone should give this album a shot. It's an adventure unto itself, and who doesn't love a great adventure? Usually when a video game becomes a favorite of mine, there are any number of ways it accomplishes this. The gameplay might be comfortingly solid yet fluid, the concept might be new and exciting, or even the story could be something that speaks to me, becoming something I didn't know I wanted until it was given to me. But with Immortality, things are different. I'm really into this video game because of the acting? Well, every now and then something comes along to make you question everything you didn't even realize you were taking for granted, and Immortality is one such something. True, Immortality might be straining against the definition of game, and it is an experience that could serve just as easily as an artsy film or experimental prestige television drama, but the presentation of that film or drama is what makes it what it is. Tasked with reviewing unedited, unrefined footage of films never released, and the behind-the-scenes videos shot alongside them in order to get to know a series of characters central to the material at hand, one character in particular goes about setting up one of the most unique experiences I think I've ever had in multiple mediums at the same time. Immortality, this part game, part movie, part series, part acting clinic, is a game that takes what would be three rather humdrum films and makes them so much more. But rather than stitching them together into something new, it instead refuses to stitch them together at all, leaving you to do just that. It's amazing what the results can be. At times funny, charming, intimate, serene, frightening in unexpected ways, and always baffling on some level. The search for Marissa Marcel will take you so far outside the boundaries that we normally associate with the kinds of images we are seeing in our progress. And that is all before mentioning the absolutely blistering performances of everyone involved. I get anxious just thinking about how to pull off the kind of performance that Manon Gage is doing in this game. There are so many specific performances I would love to highlight as well, but I don't want to draw too much attention to parts of this game that you should see carry out for yourself. I have so much I want to say about this game, but doing so here in the manner that I most definitely would tend to would ruin so much of what this game has to offer. There are a good number of content warnings that come packaged with this game, so audiences are encouraged to self-select, but the way this game can create stories that appear within the stories that themselves appear based on how you see what you see moment to moment is something that I'm tempted to call a true redefining of artistic capability, for better or worse. I'm never going to forget this experience, and if I was going to choose a top experience for the year, it would definitely have been this one, if it wasn't for some other anomalous thing that came crashing to Earth like some kind of meteorite, intent on irrevocably changing things so that it's Elden Ring. It was always going to be Elden Ring. I mean, what else could it be? This game is unlike anything else I've played, and yet somehow also the perfect version of so many things that I have played, and then manages to make all of the same old tricks work again. And for the record, Elden Ring isn't the top of this list just because this is normally a gaming-based channel and I need to stick to my guns. The fact of the matter is, I'm still enamored, flabbergasted, and just amazed by this game. I'm not even finished it. By all accounts, I'm not even close, but the nature of this thing just speaks to me. The sprawling world before you that just keeps growing, the seemingly endless wonder that hides in almost every corner, it's the perfect realization of everything that I love about the Soulsborne games up to this point, and it's more than I can possibly know what to do with at any given moment. As far as game goes, this is definitely the most game I think I've ever taken in at one time, and I normally resist the desire to just make things bigger for the sake of it, but there is a power to this majesty, an intricacy to the vastness, and a feeling of truth to the wilderness that is stepping into Elden Ring. I had so much fun with this game. I really only stopped playing it because I had to buckle down and finish the Inscription video, and even though I haven't rolled credits on it, it has already had a huge influence on how I am thinking about my next run of videos. This is the kind of game that speaks so much louder than the form it exists in. What inspires me about it is not limited to what I have seen of it. It goes so much further, off into an unknown beyond that can be anything for a while. Elden Ring is emblematic of the things that draw me to games, to anything, really. The idea of covering this game here on the channel in the way that I normally do is daunting to say the least, and I can really only imagine myself being in silent awe of this game indefinitely. And so even if there was no question it was going to be on my favorites list for the year, I'm so grateful for it being so. I'm sure everybody watching this has gotten enough of the game already, either playing it for yourself or hearing about it non-stop secondhand from friends or just the internet, but I want to talk about this game so much. It has that kind of hold on me, even if it hasn't been an everyday experience for me. I'm just ecstatic that this game exists. Its presence in my life is comforting, and I can't wait to see what it offers me next. Thank you all so much for another great year on this channel. I am more excited than ever to keep going, and I'm really looking forward to starting on what I have planned next. If you're interested in seeing an expanded version of this list, head on over to the Patreon, where there is a free supplement to this video hosted there. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, consider pledging to get a look at the bonus content that I post there on a monthly basis. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button and make that bell sing if you want to see what goes up here in the future. Thank you for watching, and here's to a good and awesome 2023.